Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson coming live to stamp with you today. I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer than I did last time to get everyone to find me. So we're just gonna sit still here for a minute. I'm getting my iPad going. So nice to see everyone. So I hope you guys got all your stuff ready. And I hope you're going to stamp along. I know a few of you told me you were going to stamp along. I can see you all coming on. So I'm just going to wait probably about 30 more seconds. It looks like everyone's finding me okay. And I'm actually on the right page today. Hello, everyone. Okay, it looks like everyone's finding me. And it's a little past 3 o'clock, so we're my time. So we're going to get started. So I gave you guys all a list of what you needed, and I know some of you guys are probably just going to be watching and then creating later. So I want to thank all of you guys that participated whatever day I did my first Stamp With Me class. It was wonderful to see all of your projects. So let me go ahead and show you what we're going to be creating today. We're going to be creating a 3D mini album using envelopes. And this is mine. Now, you did not have to use the same product. So as I do these classes with you, I'm going to make it easy on you so that you can use whatever you want for supplies. So as you can see, all I did was decorate the little white square. You guys can put anything on this white square. You can put flowers, stamped images, whatever you want that's going to coordinate with your designer paper. So we have a ribbon bow to keep it closed. And these are all envelopes. And then you can decorate this as much as you want. You can use it for scrapbooking. You can even actually put little mementos inside the envelopes, little pull-out cards. My aim today was just to show you how to create the album. So you're going to see that all of the pages have designer paper on them. That's why we had two sizes. Because of the flap, we needed a smaller piece. And these are larger because it's the front and the back. So, and you can add more envelopes than what I did also. And we even have the back all decorated. So we're going to get started, and I am going to go a little bit slower. Now that we have everything all cut out, it should be a little bit easier than last time. So let's just go over everything that we needed. We needed 8 envelopes. Now these are the Stampin' Up! Envelopes. If you're using something different, your designer paper, like let me show you. The designer papers are made to cover so that there's a 1/4 inch on this side. And then because of the flap, a 1/4 inch around the 3 sides. So if your envelopes are a little bit bigger, it'll still work. You'll just have more of an edge around your designer paper. So we needed 8 envelopes. And then for the front and the back, we needed 2 pieces of designer paper, 5 3/4 by 4. And this is for the spine. As you can see, I used a different designer paper. 5 3/4 by 1 1/2. And then for the inside pages, we needed 7 5 1/2 by 3 1/2. And I pretty much just used the different patterns from the, wait a minute, did I show you the right ones? No, 6 5 1/2 by 4. And then 7 of the 5 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then we have one that's even a little bit smaller. And that is because I punched a hole right here that the ribbon threads through. So this one had to be a little bit smaller so it didn't cover the hole. And that one is 5 1/2 by 3 1/4. Now, what else am I using? I used the layering squares to cut out the largest scallop with basic black, the largest square with whisper white. And because I'm using the bee themed, I went ahead and cut out the beehive with the gold glimmer paper. And then I also cut out with the bee die. Let me show you. We have a sheet here that the little bee you can cut out with the dies. So you can use whatever you want for the front of yours. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to set aside one envelope so we make sure we don't use it. And then we're going to take one single envelope and you're going to tuck the flap to the inside. Okay, so this is for the back. This one is for the front. We're going to move those over so we don't use them. That leaves you with 6 envelopes. Now what you're going to do, you're going to do 3 sets of 2 envelopes. So we're going to take 2 envelopes, the pocket side down and the pocket side up. So we're going to actually glue back to back. So go ahead and add glue. And we're going to do this 3 times to create 3 different pages. So make sure those are nice and flat and lined up. So if you flip these over, you've got the flap with the glue on this side and you've got the flap with the glue on this side. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 times. So here's 2 more envelopes. Again, this one is the side with the glue. I'm going to turn it over. Add glue to the one that's going to go on the top. Again, we're going to line this up. So I hope you guys, some of you guys are stamping with me. I know some of you got your stuff ready ahead of time. Now, in order for this to be successful, you have to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. So again, we have the flap on the front and the flap on the back. So there's number 2. We're going to do 1 more. Oh, Linda, you're only watching today. This would be a cute project to do with your granddaughter. Debbie is stamping. I'm glad to hear that. You're not going to give up today either. I'm not going to let you. Okay, so the third one, again, is going to be back to back. Okay, and I'm going to wait a little bit for everybody to catch up. So we have 3 sets of 2 envelopes. And keep your glue handy because we're going to do some more gluing. For those of you just tuning in, this is the album that we're making today while everybody's catching up on their gluing. Oh, Dolores, you're late. Are you stamping, Dolores? Because I can wait a little bit for you to catch up. Just let me know if you're working with us. And then the inside is all designer papers. You guys could glue photographs on the outside also. And just treat this like a little scrapbook. Okay, let's see who else. Hello, everyone. I can see you all coming on. This is wonderful. So I don't know if some of you watched me yesterday on my, where was I yesterday? I was live on my business page. I was telling all of my viewers how the day following my first Stamp With Me class, I started viewing all of the pictures that you guys posted of the cards you made, and I got all teary-eyed because I just think it's wonderful that you guys are participating. I hope you continue. I just love having stuff to do with you. Okay, now we're ready to start assembling the album. So what we're going to do, we're going to add glue to just the flap. Now this is the one with 2 envelopes glued back to back. Add glue to the flap. And we're going to insert inside the single envelope. Whoops, I added glue a little too far. Don't add glue all the way to the end like I just did. I'm just wiping that up with a wipe. Once you've got that in there, you're going to fold it over. and you're going to take a bone folder and flatten it out. So there's our first page. This was the single envelope, and then this one is the one with the 2 envelopes. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to add glue. So just go about halfway because I went a little too far. Again, you're going to insert into the top envelope. And then you're going to fold and flatten. So you can see we've got pages already. And then we're going to do the third one. So just add glue about halfway down. Insert. And the important part when you're inserting, make sure that your envelope fold is up to the first one, up to that gap. We're going to fold this down, and I try to make sure that these are equal right here when I press down. Okay, so there's the 3 sets of 2 envelopes that we glued together. They're all inside of the album now. So now the last step, the envelope that I made you put aside, guess where that's going to go? It's going to go right in here so that when you fold this one down, there's no flap showing. So here's the single envelope. So if you want to do more than 8 envelopes like I'm using today, you can do more than that if you want. You can make your album even bigger. So how neat is that? You start out at the beginning with a clean flat side and you end with a clean flat side. I'm just going to make sure these are all nice and flat. And I'm just going to hold off and let everybody catch up. And then we're going to go ahead and do the front and the back. So you're going to need the 2 pieces that measure 5 3/4 by 4 and the one that measures 5 3/4 by 1.5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and proceed. Now I'm going to add snail to the whole front. And actually, this is going to be a little bit shorter, so I'm going to add one right in the end there. And this is going to be even on the outside edge. So you're going to have a little bit of white showing on the left-hand side. That's where the spine's going to cover. And then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Okay, so there's the front and the back. I'm just going to hold off a little bit. So is anybody else following along? I just had one person say she was following along so far. Oh, and Marcia, I'm glad you shared. Just a reminder, if you guys know anyone that you might think is all alone, they love to stamp, they might be lonely, invite them to join this page so they can see some stamping and maybe even want to stamp along. I love when people join the page. Okay, Pat, you're joining in. You're trying, so I'm assuming you're not caught up, so I'll wait a little bit. Again, I wish I had some music. I should put music in the background just to keep us going. So I've been watching the news all day. Not good news, is it? Sarah's following along. Sharon's following along. I'm going to be so anxious to see what you guys create because I know they're all going to be different. While I'm waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the little piece. That's going to be the one that covers the whole corner. I'm going to add a lot of glue to this one. So I know some of you guys will do these later too. Lori, this will be my sample. My envelopes aren't the best. Is it because of the way you folded them? I know on my first one, I'm trying to think. Yeah, see, I have one envelope that's not quite lined up. This was the first one I've ever made too, so it's good to have a sample. And I know some of you guys like to see the project first before you create, and that's okay. I'm just anxious. I just hope everybody adds pictures. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and glue the spine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to line up the edge of my album right on the center line, just so I can make sure that this is nice and straight. So I'm going to glue it down on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over and press that in place. Look how easy that was. And what a nice finish. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to glue the two squares in place only because I need to punch the hole. So that's going to be my, well, actually the next step is the ribbon. You'll notice I glued the ribbon under the scallops. Okay, I'm just going to wait just a little bit. Oh, Christy, you have a stay-at-home order here in Michigan starting tonight, so this will be a good project. Great, great. So even though if you do it a day or two later, just make sure you put a picture up so we can see what you created. You know what I'm worrying a lot about? My son and his girlfriend 2 weeks ago started hiking the Appalachian Trail. From Maine, but they drove to Georgia. They started in Georgia, and they are now in North Carolina headed to the Smoky Mountains. So I'm a little worried. I don't know what's going to happen, if they're going to be able to finish their hiking trip or not. Okay, now what I want to do is actually use a ruler just to measure out, and I need a pencil. I want to just add a little line where my halfway point is, which will be, let's see, I got to figure this out. 2 3/4. That's 5 1/2. So I got to go a little over, like 2 7/8. It doesn't really have to be right in the center, but I just want mine to be in the center. What I'm going to do with that is take some tear and tape and just go from one end to the other without pressing down. I want it to be nice and straight. And that's what I'm going to glue my ribbon to. So now I'm going to use my paper piercer just to remove the backing. Maybe. There we go. Oh, Wisconsin, you guys too. It's getting really crazy and scary. Okay, so now we're going to glue the ribbon in place. I'm going to leave, I don't even measure this. I just kind of leave quite a bit on the end so I'll have enough to tie a bow with. And I don't want to press down all the way to the end because that's where my hole's going to be. I'm just going to press that. Now, a little trick that I use, because this ribbon is 1/4 inch wide, just about as wide as the tear and tape, sometimes it's still sticky. I use my embossing buddy just to take the stickiness out. So now when I run my fingers over, there's no stickiness. And then this is where I'm going to take just the front flap and punch a hole for my ribbon. And now we can cut the ribbon to measure the same length. And we can always cut the excess off later. Okay, so we just added the ribbon and we made a hole. And I need to erase my little pencil mark I made. And I'm just going to wait a little bit, make sure everybody's catching up with me. And the next step, we're going to work on the two squares to put in the front. So you guys don't need to decorate the front right away if you want to wait until afterwards, unless you know what you're putting on the front, because mine is the little beehive and the little bee that I cut. Where did it go? Here it is. So if I'm going too fast, for those of you that are doing this with me, just let me know to slow down. It's just hard for me to know where you're at. Are you guys all okay so far? Just give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I see some thumbs up. I missed the hole punch. So the hole punch just goes right over by the ribbon, and you don't really need it if you don't want to. It was just a way for me to, you just thread the ribbon through the hole to tie your bow, or you can just do it on the outside, whichever way. I was just trying to be a little fancy. Regina, just a tad bit behind. I'll wait a little bit. Joe, on the measurements, I did post them all on a previous post yesterday. It has all of the pictures of all the supplies you need, and you just need to click on each individual picture. And I have the sizes of all the cardstock, the envelopes, and then all of the designer paper that you need. Okay, so now I'm going to do the little Whisper white square. I'm just going to stamp something on the bottom. So depending on what you have planned for your square, mine says celebrate every moment. And that's going to go on the basic black square. And then we're going to glue that to the front of the album. That's going to be flat. Only because I'm gluing the beehive with Stamping Dimensionals. Now, when I'm gluing this in place, I'm going a little above center on it. I am going to bring in dimensionals to glue my beehive. That's going to go right above the sentiment. Now, I already have the project planned. I'm going to go live again on Thursday with a different project. So I'm going to, again, put down all of the measurements for what you need. Just keep in mind that all the projects I'm doing, you can use your own supplies. You don't have to copy the same paper or stamps that I'm using. I'm trying to make it so that you guys can use what you have on hand. Okay, so that's the front. Oh, Lori, your fingers are a hot mess of the glue. I think mine were like that yesterday, too. I always keep baby wipes close by just in case. Now I'm going to grab all of my designer papers. So the rest of this pretty much is you finishing your little white square on the front. And then all we have left to do is glue all of the designer papers. And if you guys decide, like I said, I didn't get fancy on the inside. I'm going to work on that later. You can treat this as a scrapbook. You can treat this to just put photographs, pull out cards, tags. A lot of the pockets, you can just put nice little mementos on the inside. So when you guys start gluing your designer paper, remember that we have 3 sizes. The smallest one is the one that goes on the first sheet only because of the punch hole if you decide to do the punch hole. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that one in place. And all you have to be careful of is where you have the pockets. Now, let's see. The next one. So now you're left with 2 sizes. So every time you have a pocket side, you're going to use the skinnier one. And of course, I'm alternating the designs. So again, make sure there's 1/4 inch all the way around, unless your envelopes are larger than what I'm using. So you can see that the paper stops. Whoops, what did I do? Glue that one down? Oh, so this one doesn't have a flap. I hope I didn't mess those up. Now, why do these not have a flap? What did I do wrong? That's odd. I gotta check my other one now. Maybe I didn't follow that. That one's open. That one's open. I don't know what I did to these ones. It's like the envelope glued down or something. Well, I'm gonna keep going anyway. Okay, now we get to... What did I do wrong? I'm trying to figure this out. I did something wrong. These are all open. I gotta think for a minute, because you know what? These are supposed to be flaps on one side and then no flaps on the other side. I'm gonna keep going. I don't know what I did wrong. That's what happens when you go live, you know. Okay, let's keep going anyway. So you might just have a flap on one side, which is okay. Since this one doesn't open, I'm gonna go ahead and put one of these ones. Let me alternate. I don't know if I put glue on the wrong side. I did this yesterday exactly just like this. I'm thinking, that's why I'm so quiet. I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled by what I did wrong. So I might have steered you guys in the wrong direction. You might have one side that doesn't have a flap, which is okay. But it still should have turned out the way that my first one did. Okay, I'm just alternating the patterns. So I'm just gonna keep gluing. Does anyone else have pockets that are glued inside? Okay, let's see. I'm trying to use a pattern that I haven't used yet. Okay, I haven't used this one and this one. Let me do a dark one. Whoops, I need some more glue. One of yours was glued down, Lori? That's so strange. Mine, I think mine are all glued down for some reason. And I have no idea why. That should have worked, because that's how I did it yesterday. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. You know what? I did something wrong, because look at all the paper I have left over. Of course, because I'm live. Because let me count. Maybe I had 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And now I've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Something's wrong. Okay, I'm gonna keep going anyway. If I figure it out, I'll write a note to you guys. It's like I have a set of envelopes missing for some reason, but I shouldn't. Look at all the paper I have left over. That is the strangest thing. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3. Yep, something's missing. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. So keep going until you have all of your designer paper in place. And then once you're done, you can finish decorating the front. And then your ribbon will thread through this hole. And then you can tie this into a bow. And if you opted not to do the hole, that's fine because you can still tie the ribbon. I just thought it was a cute little fancy way to close up the little album. So there you go. So I'm going to go research what I did wrong, and I'll try to figure out what step I missed, and I'll write you guys a note. You glued the whole envelope. Should have glued just the flaps. You know what? I think you're right. I think that's what I did wrong. I shouldn't have glued all of the envelopes back to back. It should have been just the flaps. How dumb. I'll go back and look at my notes. I've got my notes right in front here. One front tuck flap inside. Insert glue. First set of envelopes. Add glue to the flap. Yes, that's exactly what I did wrong, you guys. I was just supposed to glue the flaps together, and I glued the whole envelope together. So I made this project quite a few days ago, and I already forgot my steps. It still works, though. You still get a nice album, but if you want to do it the right way, just glue the flaps together, and that gives you more pages. Sarah, it's okay, Debbie. I did the same thing. Yeah, that was my fault, though. You followed my directions. And look how much skinnier this one is because it has less designer paper. But anyway, I still want to see what you guys created when you're done. Make sure you add some pictures. And on Thursday, I'm going to go live at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I actually have a project that has a little folder with 4 cards on the inside. And I'll list all of the supplies that you guys need. So thanks so much for coming along today, and I hope to see you again on Thursday. Bye-bye.